In less than 3 hours, President Obama will deliver his final State of the Union address. In the meantime, breaking news, 10 U.S. Navy personnel sailors been detained by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard in the Persian Gulf. 2 ships, one disabled, the other on its way to aid it. Both were seized. We don't know what the timeline is, and we are looking into it. In the meantime, Congressman Marsha Blackburn is here. She has been briefed on this. We've got to start with this situation here. I don't know if it's too early to call this an aggression by Iran, but certainly it feels like a very inappropriate action on their part, and certainly an embarrassment for the White House. What do you know?
Well, we have not had a classified briefing and don't have details. We're waiting to get some of that, Charles. What we do know is this, that the State Department and the administration have been in touch with Iran. There is an understanding, supposedly, that these sailors and the ships will be returned, or the boats will be returned and will be freed. I do agree with you. I think this is an enormous embarrassment for the White House on State of the Union Day, if you will. And then also I think it's important to note that the House took action today on an Iran sanctions bill, and it leads you to curiosities as to exactly what has happened and why it's happening right now.
Well, we know that right now in this country, there's no issue larger than national security. We woke up this morning with another ISIS attack on Westerners, this time in Istanbul. And of course, we see the aggression by Iran here in the Persian Gulf, no matter how this is resolved. What do you think the president is going to say about this tonight?
Well, he should be focusing on national security. You're right. This is the primary issue. It's what we hear first and foremost. And when you look not only at what happened in Istanbul, what is taking place in Germany, look at what happened here last week. You've got Philadelphia. You have the arrest that took place in California and in Texas. People are very concerned about the national security issues. The president should hit this first and should say, we're at war. We have an enemy. It is radical Islamic extremism. He should call them out, name the enemy, and then deliver the message. We are going to hunt you down, and we are going to destroy you and your networks. Then in the middle of this, people hear about the Gitmo detainees being released, and they're saying, wait a minute, these are people that do not wish us well. They want to do harm to us. Why are you releasing them? And it just elevates the discussion around the hot spots and the insecurities and the uncertainty that exists, whether it is Iran or Iraq. And by the way, I have 1,300 troops that are leaving Fort Campbell there in my district now and are returning to Iraq. We have the strike team that is going back over there. See, people see this as an unfinished job. We are going back to reclaim territory that we have that we had won and that we had lost. So you look at the entire Middle East, you look at what is happening in Turkey, you look at what is happening in North Korea, and you say, wait a minute. Wait a minute, we've got a lot of unrest. We have a lot of activity. This makes me very uncomfortable. That's what we hear more than anything else from our constituents.
And it's so unfortunate that those young men and women probably feel like they're not being given the amount of support to go back out there and win this thing once and for all. And I think that's what's scaring a lot of people. That's
right, because we have a commander-in-chief who cannot give a clear vision and cannot give clear orders as to what and how to do. And when those rules of engagement are tainted or changed, and you cannot give that order with preciseness, then of course it leads to confusion, not only for the troops and the commanders, but the families.
Congressman Blackburn, as usual, we really appreciate it, and Godspeed to those young men and women from Fort Campbell.